Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Agent Investor. I am Brandon Rush, your host. The goal of The Agent Investor is to have conversations with those who are in the commercial and multifamily space to help you as our audience make informed decisions. Today, I have a good friend of mine, Heather Colp of Colp Design and Consulting, joining us. Thank you so much for joining us, Heather.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Heather and I met, I want to say in the last year and a half. I'm not sure. I'll let you remind me, but I don't know if it's through Crew or you contacted me, but I'll let you jump in and tell the audience how we did that. But Heather, tell us about yourself. Tell us how you affiliated in commercial real estate and what you do, what your business is about.
Yeah, a little bit of my background is I have a degree in interior design from Syracuse University, but within a few years, I think I realized that although I enjoyed the design side, I actually enjoyed more the constructability, how things worked, and the team collaboration. My husband and I actually went overseas in 2005 working for Corning to help oversee design and construction with their facilities team. And that lasted until 2 years ago. So it was about 17 years that we did that work as owners, project managers. And then we returned to the US and picked Connecticut to be our home base. And at that point, I started Colp Design and Consulting in August of 22.
Oh, very nice. Cool. So you were out of the country for a significant amount of time. What made you come back to Connecticut?
So it's sort of a central location to our two families. I have a lot of family in the Syracuse area, and my husband's from south of Boston. Funny enough, I was actually born in New London, but my parents only lived there for a year. So it's sort of full circle that somehow I made it back to Connecticut. It's meant to be.
Yeah. Got it. All right, now, cool. So I guess the first question, actually I'm going off script right away. Tell us a little bit more about your business and who do you cater to? What kind of clients you generally come to you for your services?
Sure. So my business primarily has a focus on owner representation, or we call it OPM, or owners project management work, as well as project management. Some of the folks that might contact me, someone like yourself, a real estate broker. I actually just had one late last year contact me saying that they had a national client that has locations throughout the US, and they had recently bought out another company. And so they had a 17,000 square foot space. He wasn't sure exactly what they wanted to do with it, but he said, hey, and so I did, and I ended up, working on this project. I'm wrapping it up in the next couple of weeks as their owner project manager. Another group would be real estate investors. If they're not sure, they're looking to possibly purchase a space or even a greenfield space, and they're not sure that it fits their needs. They need somebody like me to have a look at it or even do maybe some basic space planning. They can bring me on board to help with this. Once they understand the space will work, then I can help them find an architect, engineer, or general contractor, and then manage that entire project for them.
Very good.
Yeah, some other people may be healthcare organizations that need an owner's representative, any type of commercial business owners, manufacturing and laboratories. That's all in my wheelhouse.
Got it. So you can really handle everything from a project management standpoint. So it seems like the initial some may reach out to you for the feasibility part of it, just to see what's possible with the space that they have.
That's right.
And then from there, you make recommendations, and then you can from there take it over if they decide to continue working with you once you have a plan, a preliminary plan in place.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah. And I've handled projects, extremely fast-paced, large-scale projects, everything from on the smaller scale, 10,000 square feet, all the way up to 1.5 million square feet. So there's really very little that I haven't been able to get my hands on in my career, which does span over 25 years, which is nuts when I think about it.
Absolutely. No, cool. Very good. All right. So let's keep it moving here. When it comes to construction management or construction project management, what are some of the common challenges that you face?
I would say right off the get-go, one of the biggest challenges is getting the owners to see how beneficial it is to have an owner's representative on their side. We're always going to be looking out for their best interest through the entire process from start to finish. But a lot of times they think we can take this on ourselves, but in the end, typically they usually wish they had somebody like myself with that type of experience dealing with taking care of those day-to-day stresses.
Very good. Yeah. Now that you say that, it makes me think about me and my broker role. A lot of times, same thing. A lot of investors or owners that business owners that I may deal with, they may not think they necessarily need my services because they say, hey, I could do that. But they don't realize it's extremely time consuming. It's so detail oriented. They have a whole nother business to run. And now they're basically taking on another job for a period of time, not realizing
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And I think one of the other things is they maybe don't understand what it is that an owner's representative can do for them. I can break that down a little bit.
Go
As
for
I
it.
said, we can help with initial concepts, advise the owner on potential issues, what works, what may not work. We also help with the overall coordination with the civil engineers, the architects, all the engineers, the contractors. We can review pay requisitions. So let's say your contractor, for instance, says they're 25% complete. That would be my job to be on site, review all that, make sure they are where they are. And then also I will provide weekly updates with photos on the progress to the
Nice.
owners. So if they don't want to be at the site every week or they can't get there, that would be my job, is to update them. Also, I would lead team coordination meetings, providing meeting minutes, help review submittals with the owners, and just consistent communication, making sure everybody's working under the same umbrella with the same goal in mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you break it down, there's a lot of responsibilities you take on that somebody, if it's a full fledged company, they could literally have a project manager, which would probably be significantly more costly versus having a individual like who could work per job if necessary or for a longer term period of time as well.
Right, absolutely.
Very good. All right. Cool. Anything else you can think of? Any other challenges that come to mind that are common and if not,
Yeah, I mean, I think what's great and maybe a little bit more unique about myself than other OPMs, owner project managers, is that I have worked on all sides of the table. I've worked at the architecture and engineering firm, starting out as a designer. I have been on the owner side, and I also worked on the general contractor side. So honestly, I have empathy for all parties when problems may arise. And one of the challenges is just making sure that we can find a solution that everybody agrees on. And that's definitely an area that I thrive.
absolutely. Got it. Very good. All right. So I actually skipped the question, but if you're allowed to, can you talk about some of the projects you're working on? Even if you can't name the companies, if you can, great. If you can't, just maybe just talk on a high level with some of the
Yeah,
projects you're
sure.
working
And
on.
I'm glad you recognize that. Yeah, so this one that I had mentioned before, that this broker reached out to me, it is a national payroll company. I won't name who it is, but that's a 17,000 square foot project that I'm working on right now in the Springfield area that I'm OPM on. And it's basically that we remodeled the office space, added new workstations. They had one small area for light production, which is essentially printing payroll tickets. Another one I'm working on is a 100,000 square foot self storage facility,
Mm,
existing buildings converted into self storage. That had a lot of challenges because one of the buildings is from the late 1800s. You can imagine, could run into some issues there, a lot of unknowns. And then another one I'm working on actually is a healthcare facility that is a combination of dental and behavioral health and family practice. And that one I'm partnering with a general contractor on. We had worked together on a project, multifamily project in Middletown, and we just really gelled. We got along really well. And so they approached me and asked if I'd be interested in helping them to be a project manager for that one. So that's what I'm doing.
got it. Absolutely. All fun stuff. And I heard a few things about locations. So you're servicing right now, you're doing a lot within Connecticut and Mass. Are you servicing other states right now? Are you kind of focused on certain areas or?
Yeah, no, I'm not right now, Connecticut and Massachusetts, but I essentially a 3 hour radius. But there's also things that I can do remotely that I may not need to always travel for. So,
Got it.
yeah.
Absolutely. No, good to know. Good to know. Okay, no, great. So you have a few projects you're working on, a few big projects actually. Let's see. Any projects that you're not currently working on or you haven't done before that you'd be interested in getting into?
Yeah. So, in my past life as a designer, I actually did work on multifamily projects, very large scale on the design side. but that's definitely one area that I would love to tap into as a OPM or project manager. As I said, I do have a lot of experience with larger size projects, so
Sure.
that doesn't faze me at all. And I'm very schedule driven as well. I do have a lot of experience with laboratories in healthcare, so I'd love to start tapping into that a little bit more in this New England area.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, good place, both biotech and for multifamily new developments. There's a lot going up. I mean,
Yeah,
Connecticut's a
yeah,
very old place, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity there in terms of new developments in the next, 20, 30 years, just because Connecticut's so old. But
yeah, for
that's good.
sure.
Super good to know. All right, no, cool, cool. So we actually moving through this very quick. You're very precise and you're very clear in explaining who you are and what you do. So this is an easy one. So actually, we're just going to keep moving right along. So we're getting away from the kind of your role in your business and jumping more to personal. What are some of your hobbies when you're not doing your consulting and designing work? What are some of your hobbies?
Well, as you know, I'm a mom. I've got two very busy boys at home. And so between my work and the boys, there isn't a whole lot of time for other things, but I do love cycling. We're in the process of doing some renovation on our home. But one of the things I love to tell people is that that's the reason that I started my own business was for my family, because I took a little bit of time off after my kids were born. And once I decided to start this business, I wanted to be able to control my schedule. And I would say, for the most part, I'm really able to do that. I can say yes or no to meetings that might interfere with soccer time or whatever. But the other is I do love to travel, obviously, because we were in Asia for almost 20 years and we had a chance to see a lot of different countries. I haven't been able to do that quite as much since we moved back here, but in all honesty, I'm loving my work.
That's what makes it all count for sure. Which part of Asia did you like the most if you were to go back?
There's so many great things about each of the places that we were. The landscape of Japan is just phenomenal.
Mm.
There were beautiful things about China and Taiwan as well. But on the cycling side, I really loved being in Japan because we lived in a small town that I was about 15 minutes from the ocean and 15 from these mountainous tea fields. It was phenomenal.
Ooh, that sounds yeah, no, definitely. No, cool, cool. How can our audience find you and or get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you could go to colpdesignandconsulting.com. My Instagram is colp_design. And I would say that if you think about starting a new project, definitely reach out to me. I can help kind of remove those stresses that you will undoubtedly encounter during the process. And I've got decades of experience and truly love what I do.
Got it. Oh, very good. And this kind of leads into our last question for any final words for the audience, anything about yourself, the business, anything.
Yeah, just again to kind of emphasize that I'm really passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about bringing people together as a team and making sure everybody's communicating with each other and that we have one goal in mind, and that's to provide our clients with the best possible project on schedule and under budget.
Got it. Absolutely. All right. So thank you, Heather. And one last thing I want to say on my end regarding Heather is I've known Heather for, I want to say like a year and a half now. I'm not sure exactly, but Heather is a hyper networker here in central Connecticut and has linked me up with some very good people. And they have all been like, every single person she's linked me up with, she's like a mind reader in terms of who I work well with and every single person I have. So thank you so much for that. I'm meeting very good people through you. So I am highly trustful in you in that, in terms of your services and what you can do based on what you've done for me just in a short period of time knowing others. So thank you, Heather. And lastly, so thank you all for joining us for another episode of The Agent Investor. Thank you, Heather, for joining us. We want to wish you all the best in your health and happiness. And we look forward to checking you out on future episodes. Once again, thank you, Heather. Thank you all. And we will check you all next time.